All right. And I read little tidbits here and there of uh, whatever information that they put in the book. Here, I'm gonna make it so that you guys can see everything. So basically, this is kind of a starter of his work, and it encompasses the time from 1904 to 1989. I want to make sure that it's straight, and you guys can actually see it correctly. Valued anywhere between 50 million and 150 million. That print I have there costs like 20-30 bucks. That's a lot of money. That's that's mind blowing right there. But then again, I mean, it's completely understandable because his work is just it's it's pretty mesmerizing. So these are ones here. This one is one of his right now starting. Uh, Again, this is just if I were to describe it, it is like if this would be what he was doing when he was learning how to paint, because you'll see what I'm talking about when you see his actual surreal work. Like that's actually where it it that's when he hits it in the nail because it's just it's you'll see it's so crazy. So it says he painted his first picture in 1910 at the age of 6. At 10, he discovered Impressionist art, and at 14, the Pompiers, a 19th century group of academic genre painters, among them Meilsonier, Meilsonier, Detel, and Moreau. By 1927, he was Dali, and the poet and playwright Federico Garcia Lorca, a friend of his youth, wrote an ode to Salvador Dali. Years later, Dali claimed that Lorca had been very attracted to him and had tried to sodomize him, but not quite managed it. Dali's thirst for scandal was unquenchable. His parents had named him Salvador because he was the chosen one who was come to save painting from the deadly menace of abstract art, academic surrealism, uh, uh, dadaism, and any kind of anarchism whatsoever. This was called Portrait of Hortensia, peasant woman from Cadaqués. Uh, Again, this is baby. This is like a. This is him learning how to paint because, again, we'll see how. And even in his learning stage, if that's what we want to call it, I mean, the man was still. Wait, hold on. Adjust it just a little bit more. There we go. That's wonderful. And again, even in his beginnings, he was still a master at his craft. You can tell by the types of brushstrokes that he uses and like the colors. Really, for this one, it's like really pale colors. Uh, Still pretty beautiful. So again, I think this is his father. So it's called Portrait of My Father. His dad kind of looks like a combination of Winston Churchill and dang, I forgot his name. uh, Kingpin from uh, the Daredevil Spider-Man lore. Let's see, at the age of 6, I wanted to be a cook. At 7, I wanted to be Napoleon, and my ambition has steadily grown ever since. Aside from being forbidden the kitchen, I was allowed to do anything I pleased. I wet my bed until I was 8 for the sheer fun of it. I was the absolute monarch of the house. Nothing was good enough for me. Behind the partly open kitchen door, I would hear the scurrying of those bestial women with red hands. I would catch glimpses of their heavy rumps and their hair straggling like manes. And out of the heat and confusion that rose from the conglomeration of sweaty women, scattered grapes, boiling oil, fur plucked from rabbits' armpits, scissors spattered with mayonnaise, kidneys, and the warble of canaries, out of that whole conglomeration, the imponderable and inaugural fragrance of the forthcoming meal was wafted to me, mingled with a kind of acidic horse smell. As I said, I was a spoiled child. Oh boy. Moving on. Okay, so this is Catechist from the back and self portrait with the neck of Raphael. So this is his take into uh, the art style called Cubism. You can tell, especially here. And this is a self-portrait of himself. It's called Cubist Self-Portrait. So I looked it up just to give a clear definition. So Cubism was a revolutionary new approach to representing reality invented in around 1907-08 by artists Pablo Picasso and Georges Braque. They brought different views of subjects, usually objects or figures, together in the same picture, resulting in paintings that appear fragmented and abstracted, like this example that we see right here to the right. This is Portrait of My Father. So it's another portrait of his papa. And Portrait of Luis Buñuel. So, Girl at the Window was one of his first works that was uh, that basically gave a glimpse into how he plays with perspective. Specifically, you can tell here. I mean, if you can, you can feel what she's seeing because it looks like it has that depth in it. It's a pretty simple portrait. I remember a painting. I actually remember uh, I when I went to college. This was in I did graphic design, and this was actually when I was taking like art history. This is one of the ones I was in one of the finals, and I remember having to study a lot of these portraits of different artists, and this was one of the ones that they picked from him. And they tried to throw that oddball to see if no one could guess it, but your boy guessed it, and I had it right. I love that class. That was one of my favorite classes I've ever taken. Alrighty, so this is more what Salvador Dali is known for. This is his uh, surrealism kicking in. Here's a figure between the rocks. Mind you, this one is 1926, so this is before the 70s. Man, uh, take one here, Venus and Amarini. While not as surreal as uh, the painting we have on the left, it is still indeed uh, a little bit, you know, I guess it falls into what surreal. It's borderline what surrealism and what real could be. Because I mean, it's not that far fetched, but some of the faces are erased. And obviously, Venus, we know that she is the goddess of love in Roman mythology. Oh yeah. So this is more. This is getting into the surrealism again that Salvador Dali is known for. Uh, as you can see, there's so many different things that the point of him is breaking apart every element in his paintings, and then from that point on, you can kind of you can put together after taking each one apart, you can kind of start putting them together in your head, and it gives you a message. He's while obviously in a very surreal way, but he's there's a message behind what he's trying to convey with this painting. This one is called Portrait of Paul Eluard. Uh, so Dali wanted to be talked about in Spain, and that meant he had to become known beyond Catalonia. Exhibitions in Madrid and Barcelona were beginning to attract attention, and Dali subsequently wrote, Picasso had seen my girl's back in Barcelona and praised it. I received on this subject a letter from Paul Rosenberg asking for photographs, which I failed to send out of sheer negligence. I knew that the day I arrived in Paris, I would put them all in my bag with one sweep. Let's see. So the Dali's period of Impressionist, Pointillist, Futurist, Cubist, and Neo-Cubist borrowings was almost at an end. That is to say, these influences, indispensable for a beginner, had been nothing more than a means of expressing images that were peculiar to his own world. He needed the influences, but generally they held him for only a few weeks. His urge to express human feelings retained the upper hand, as is in Honey is Sweeter Than Blood, which is this one right here. And again, it's the different elements that he puts together that you just wouldn't think that you know someone would paint those things and make it make sense. So it says, in spite of the outcry that greeted some of Dali's work, the Catalonian critics were enthusiastic and hoped that their new star presently would presently be conquering France. One of them wrote, "Few young painters have made so self-assured an impression as Salvador Dali, son of the town of Figueras. If Salvador now has his eye on France, it is because it lies within his scope, and because his God-given talent demands the opportunity to prove itself. What does it matter if Dali tends his flame by using Ingres's fine pencil or the coarse cubist approach of Picasso?" Mind you, those are all like considered some of the greatest painters ever, and they were just like buds like that. Like yeah, it's my dude. No, yeah, that should be good. So there's this blend of different influences that you can see: the Cubism, Futurism, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. This one is Apparatus in Hand. This one is called Cenicitas. It does. It looks. I think maybe that's the whole thing. But it has a belly button,